Stop right now. Do not scroll past this message. Something around your life has shifted. You may not see it yet, but the pressure, the silence, and the strange distance you feel are not random. The next few minutes may explain why everything has felt heavier, slower, and harder to understand than usual. You have been carrying more than you admit. You wake up tired, you move through the day on habit, you answer people, finish tasks, and keep going, but deep inside you know something no longer fits. The old rhythm feels wrong. The old conversations feel empty. Even the goals you once chased may no longer move you. This message is not here to frighten you. It is here to help you notice what your spirit has already been trying to say. Something has reached its limit. Something is closing, and something new is waiting for your decision. You are not being asked to understand everything at once. Maybe you have felt unusually quiet. Maybe certain people have pulled away. Maybe plans that seemed certain have suddenly slowed down. You may have asked why nothing is moving. You may have wondered if you missed your chance. But what if the delay is not the end? What if it is the moment before a new direction becomes clear? This message will not speak to everyone, but if you feel caught between who you were and who you are becoming, stay here. You are standing in a serious season. The version of you that survived the past cannot lead the entire future, and the next part will show you why. Before this message ends, you will hear 3 signs. These signs may confirm that you are not simply tired, unlucky, or lost. Something deeper may be changing. The 3rd sign is the one most people misunderstand. And the 1st sign is not found in what is arriving. It is found in what you can no longer tolerate. You did not arrive here because every random moment carries a hidden command. A message matters only when it helps you recognize something real inside your own life. Do not accept these words blindly. Test them against your experience. Notice what keeps returning when the noise becomes quiet. Have you been thinking about beginning again? Have you imagined a different routine, a different direction, or a life that feels more honest? Perhaps the same unfinished goal keeps returning. You push it away, then it comes back. A true desire often survives every excuse used to bury it. You may feel less willing to explain yourself. You once worked hard to be understood. You changed your choices to keep others comfortable. Now that effort feels exhausting. You are learning to protect your time, your attention, and your peace because you finally understand where your energy belongs. Another change is happening quietly. You are noticing how often you lived by expectations that were never truly yours. You followed the safe path. You accepted familiar roles. But every day spent performing an old identity pulls you farther from the life you want. You are not weak because you feel tired. You may be drained because you are maintaining a life that no longer matches you. Ordinary rest can help a busy body, but deeper exhaustion often asks for honesty, boundaries, and a new way of moving through each day. Think about the goal you keep postponing. Do not judge yourself. Name it clearly. Is it connected to your health, your work, your finances, your faith, or your growth? What would change if you gave that desire one real action today? Change begins inside before it becomes visible outside. First, you question the old pattern. Then you feel the discomfort of no longer belonging there. Finally, you make a choice that gives the new direction room to grow. Many people leave during the uncomfortable middle because they mistake uncertainty for failure. Now pay attention. 3 signs can reveal whether the old chapter is ending. The first appears when familiar things become heavy. The second appears inside silence. The third returns as a desire you cannot ignore. Once you recognize all 3, you will understand why staying the same has become so difficult. The first sign is clear. Things that once felt normal now feel heavy. A job, a friendship, a routine, or an old promise may drain you now. This does not always mean those things are bad. It may mean you have grown beyond the role you played inside them. Do not make a reckless decision. Watch the pattern. Notice where your body tightens, where your energy disappears, and where you keep betraying your own needs just to preserve an image of peace. You may already know the habit, attachment, or old agreement that cannot follow you forward, but the reason you cannot release it may surprise you. Sometimes, you hold on because familiar pain feels safer than an unfamiliar future. The second sign appears through silence. Approval becomes quieter. Certain people stop calling. Plans slow down. The attention you once depended on may disappear. At first, this feels like rejection. You wonder what you did wrong, but silence removes distraction. It reveals the thoughts you avoided. It exposes fears hidden beneath constant movement. And while the quiet can feel empty, it can also become the first place where your own voice is strong enough to hear. The silence was not necessarily rejection. The delay was not necessarily punishment. The doors that closed were not proof that you were forgotten. Some endings may have protected you from repeating a future that looked different but carried the same old pain. Now comes the third sign. A certain desire keeps returning. It may be a project you never completed. It may be a healthier way of living. It may be the need to create, build, begin, or finally choose yourself. You tried to silence it, but it continues to rise. This returning desire is often misunderstood. People assume that wanting something strongly means it should happen without effort. That is not the message. Desire can reveal direction, but direction still requires discipline. It needs a plan. It needs repetition. It needs a real place inside your daily life. Ask yourself one honest question. What keeps returning after disappointment, delay, and doubt? Do not answer with what sounds impressive. Answer with what feels true. When nobody is watching, the answer may show you where your next chapter wants to begin. These signs work together. The old life becomes heavy. Silence removes the noise. A true desire rises again. This is why you feel unsettled. You are not only losing interest in the past, you are becoming responsible for what you know about your future. But recognizing the signs is not enough. You can understand every pattern and still remain trapped inside it. Something old must end before something new can take its place. And what must end may not be a job, a place, or a person. It may be the version of you that keeps asking for permission to live. You have now seen the signs. The old life feels heavy. Silence has exposed what you avoided. A deeper desire keeps returning. But before something new can begin, something old must lose its power over you. The first thing ending is your need to be understood by everyone. You spent years explaining your heart. You softened your truth. You delayed decisions because you feared disappointing people who were comfortable with the older version of you. That pattern cannot lead you forward. Not everyone will understand the direction you choose. Some people only recognize the version of you that served their expectations, and your growth may feel like distance to them. The second thing ending is your dependence on motivation. You waited to feel ready. You promised to begin when fear disappeared. But readiness rarely arrives before action. It grows after you take the first honest step. The third thing ending is the habit of abandoning yourself to keep peace. You said yes when your body said no. You accepted less to avoid conflict. You carried responsibilities that were never yours. Now the cost is impossible to ignore. This ending can feel painful. The mind often prefers familiar discomfort over uncertain freedom. Even a limiting pattern can feel safe when you know exactly how it hurts. A new life asks more from you because it removes the excuses you use to stay hidden. You cannot walk through a new door while both hands are holding the old one open. Something must be released. Maybe it is a role. Maybe it is an expectation. Maybe it is the belief that your future must look reasonable to everyone. Ask yourself this: what are you trying to save, even though it has completed its purpose? Whose permission are you still waiting for? What will your life look like 6 months from now if you keep making the same choices? Do not rush past those questions. The answer may not be comfortable, but comfort is not always confirmation. Sometimes discomfort is the feeling of truth, entering a place where denial has lived too long. The next chapter does not require you to hate the past. It asks you to stop living there. You can honor what helped you survive, while admitting that it cannot teach you how to expand. Pay close attention now. This update does not only reveal what is changing, it reveals the one decision you must stop postponing, because any unbroken pattern will follow you into every new opportunity and rebuild the life you tried to leave. You already know where the decision lives. It is inside the call you avoid, the boundary you delay, the routine you keep restarting, or the dream you keep reducing. Stop negotiating with what you know. The hardest moment often comes after awareness. You can no longer return to ignorance, but you do not yet feel secure inside the person you are becoming. This is the space between identities, and it can make every step feel uncertain. The older version of you no longer fits. The newer version is still forming. That does not mean the change is wrong. It means you are learning to move without the comfort of familiar patterns. This is where many people turn back. They mistake uncertainty for danger. They assume resistance means stop. But every real transition creates friction, because your habits are trying to protect the life they already understand. The first reaction is delay. You tell yourself the plan needs more detail. You want the perfect time and the perfect sign. While you wait, the goal remains untouched and doubt becomes stronger. The second reaction is endless learning. You watch more videos, but information becomes another hiding place when it never enters your routine or your hands. The third reaction is self-doubt. You begin with energy, results move slowly. Then you question your ability. You forget that consistency often looks ordinary before it produces anything visible. This creates a painful cycle. You feel inspired, you start strong, you lose structure, you miss a day. Then shame enters, and instead of returning calmly, you abandon the process and wait for another emotional surge. The problem may not be a lack of willpower. You may be asking motivation to perform a job that belongs to structure. A clear system can carry you when excitement is gone and old doubts return. You need a beginning that feels simple. You need instructions that remove confusion. You need a way to measure progress. A method must fit real life. A plan that only works under perfect conditions is another fantasy. Think about every time you began and stopped. What broke first? Was the process too complicated? Did you expect change too quickly? Did you miss one day and decide the entire effort had failed? More pressure will not help if the system is unclear. More inspiration will not help if the action is too difficult to repeat. This is why the emergency update is not only encouragement, it is a practical instruction. You are being asked to stop waiting for a different feeling and begin creating a different pattern. The breakthrough is not hidden inside one dramatic moment. It grows through small promises kept repeatedly. Every return after a mistake rebuilds trust. You do not need to move perfectly. You need to move consistently. The next part will reveal what this update is asking from you now and why the opportunity may appear more ordinary than you expect. A window is opening, but it may not look dramatic. It may arrive as a small idea, an unexpected invitation, a new routine, or the sudden urge to choose yourself. The danger is that you may dismiss it because it looks too ordinary. You expected a powerful sign. You expected fear to disappear before the next step became clear. But change often enters quietly, and it asks whether you can recognize value before results become visible. Here is the first part of the emergency update. The season of waiting has completed its purpose. Delay keeps you in the same place. You may never feel completely ready. Readiness is often created after movement begins. It must be specific, honest, and possible within your real life. Here is the second part. What comes next requires your participation. Intuition must meet action, desire must meet structure. Faith must meet a habit that can survive ordinary days. You are not powerless, but you are responsible. That truth removes the fantasy that someone else will protect your future for you. Here is the third part. You must stop negotiating with the old cycle. Stop saying tomorrow when the first step can happen today. Stop collecting hope without using the tools already within reach. This does not mean making a reckless decision. It means choosing one action that matches what you know. Send the message, make the plan, set the boundary, begin the routine, finish one small task. The emergency update is simple. The door is no longer closed, but you still have to walk through it. No message can do that for you. No burst of emotion can replace the actions that build a new identity. Your next chapter will be shaped by repeated choices. A single, honest action can become evidence that you are no longer controlled by the pattern you once accepted. Now notice what may happen after you act. The old doubts may return. You may question whether the effort matters. This is when most people abandon their commitment. Knowing your life is changing is not enough. You need something that helps you stay clear, grounded, and consistent when the old voice becomes loud again. Near the end of this message, you will see a practical tool created for that exact moment. It will not make choices for you. It is designed to reduce confusion, support repetition, and help turn a meaningful decision into a pattern you can maintain. It may be one decision you avoid, one habit you need, one opportunity requiring a response, or one boundary that protects your energy. Do not overlook the ordinary doorway. The life you keep asking for may begin through a step so small that your old mind calls it insignificant, but the new version of you will recognize it as the beginning. The new door may not look like a miracle. It may look like a decision you keep avoiding. It may look like a habit that seems too small to matter. It may look like an invitation you almost ignore, or a boundary you know you need. The first doorway is a decision. You already know the area. It may involve your work, your health, your money, your relationships, or the way you use your time. You keep waiting for certainty, but certainty often comes after commitment. The second doorway is a small routine. It may take 10 minutes. It may feel simple, but simple actions become powerful when they are repeated, because repetition teaches your mind that the new direction is real. The third doorway is an opportunity that requires a response. It may arrive quietly. Someone may reach out. An idea may return. A new path may appear. The danger is delay, because hesitation can turn a living opportunity into another memory. The fourth doorway is a boundary. You cannot build a different life while giving every person unlimited access to your time and energy. A boundary is not punishment. It is a clear decision about what your future needs in order to grow. Ask yourself 4 questions. What do I know I need to do? What is draining me most? What can I complete within one day? What support would help me stay consistent for the next 30 days? Do not use fear to answer. Use honesty. The cost of delay is not a curse. It is more time lost, more stress carried, and more proof given to the old belief that you cannot trust yourself. Every promise you keep changes that belief. Every small action says, I am becoming someone who follows through. The result may not appear immediately, but identity begins to shift the moment your behavior becomes evidence. You do not need another burst of inspiration. You need a clear way to remember what matters, follow the right steps, track your progress, and return without shame when life interrupts the plan. Look at the pattern you have lived before. You knew what mattered, but the day became noisy. One distraction became another. By evening, the promise was pushed aside, and guilt made the next morning harder. That is why the next solution matters. It is not meant to replace your effort. It is meant to organize it. It is not meant to create desire. It is meant to help your desire survive ordinary days. The right support should meet you inside real life. It should work on busy days, uncertain days, and days when your confidence feels low. It should make progress visible without demanding that you become a different person overnight. Before you see it, understand one final barrier. Many people already know what they should do. They still do not move, because knowledge alone cannot calm the fear of failing again. Part of you may already be saying, "I have tried before, and nothing ever lasts." Do not ignore that voice. Listen carefully, because that belief may be the final gate between you and the change you say you want. You are not always afraid to begin. Sometimes you are afraid to hope again. You remember the last plan, the last promise, and the last moment you lost momentum. The disappointment still lives inside your next decision. That fear makes sense, but it does not prove you are incapable. It may only prove that the method you used did not fit your real life, your energy, or the way you actually build consistency. Past attempts can teach you something useful. They can reveal where the process became too hard, where support disappeared, and where one mistake became permission to quit. You may also believe you lack discipline, but discipline is easier when the next step is clear. Confusing systems create resistance. Large goals create pressure. A missing reminder can turn one busy day into a week of avoidance. Another fear is spending money on something you will not use. That concern deserves honesty. A useful tool should lower the effort required to begin, show you what to do next, and fit inside the time you truly have. It should not demand perfection. It should help you return. The ability to return after a missed day is often more valuable than the ability to begin with intense motivation. This solution is for someone who wants a practical way to move toward a meaningful goal. It is for someone who has tried to rely on motivation, but needs more clarity, structure, and support. It is not for someone expecting a miracle without action. It is not for someone unwilling to follow the process. And it is not meant to solve problems outside its real purpose. Real progress is not a straight line. Some days will feel strong, other days will feel slow. A good process leaves room for both, because consistency is built through returning, not through pretending that interruptions never happen. You do not need to prove that you will never struggle again. You only need a system that makes the next right action easier to repeat. That is how confidence grows. It grows through evidence, not pressure. In the next few moments, you will have a choice. You can return to the same pattern with more information, or take one concrete step that makes this message real in your daily life. Before you decide, you need to see exactly what that step includes. You need to know what the tool is, who it serves, how it works, and why it may succeed where inspiration alone has failed. That is why this practical system was created. It is designed for people who want meaningful change, but need a clearer way to turn intention into consistent daily action. You were never missing desire. You were missing a clear way to use it. You needed a process simple enough to begin, practical enough to repeat, and structured enough to guide you when motivation became weak. The product begins by showing you where to start. Instead of facing one overwhelming goal, you follow a clear sequence. Each step reduces confusion. Each action has a purpose. Each return becomes easier. You begin with one honest goal. Then you break it into manageable actions that fit your normal schedule. This removes the pressure to transform everything at once and gives your attention one clear direction. The first feature helps create clarity. The next feature reduces confusion. Another feature supports consistent action, so your progress depends less on memory and more on a reliable structure. This matters because every feature should solve a real problem. A reminder is useful when it helps you act. A guide is useful when it removes doubt. A tracking method is useful when it shows that your effort is creating movement. You can use the product in the morning to set direction. You can return during the day when distractions appear. You can review progress at night, so the day ends with clarity instead of vague disappointment. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. When you follow a process that feels clear and manageable, the old excuse that everything is too difficult begins to lose its power. This product is especially useful for people who know what they want, but struggle to maintain focus and follow through. It helps bridge the distance between understanding what matters and actually doing it. It does not make decisions for you. It does not remove every difficult day. It gives you a practical structure that helps you stay connected to the decision you already made. This is where the message becomes real. A chosen one is not someone who only receives a sign. A chosen one is someone willing to respond. Awareness opens the door, but action is what carries you through it. The product supports that response by making the path more visible. It helps you know what comes next. It helps you notice progress, and it helps you return quickly when the old pattern tries to pull you back. The most valuable change may not happen on the first day. It may begin after repeated use, when the action feels less forced, the direction feels more natural, and your trust in yourself starts to grow. The system also reduces the emotional weight of a missed day. You do not need to start your entire life again. You simply return to the next step, and the process continues without shame becoming the leader. That is the deeper value. You are not only completing tasks, you are building evidence that your word matters. You are proving that your future is no longer controlled by the habits that shaped your past. In the next part, you will see how the method works each day, which benefits matter most, and what evidence can help you decide whether this is truly the right tool for you. The method works because it connects intention with repeated action. First, you choose one clear outcome. Then, you identify the next step. The system helps reduce friction, so starting feels easier and progress becomes visible. In the morning, you use it to set your direction. You decide what matters most. You identify the action that must happen before the day becomes noisy. This creates focus before distraction takes control. During the day, you return when attention begins to drift. The process reminds you what you chose, why it matters, and what can still be completed. You do not need to rebuild the entire plan. You only need to reconnect with the next step. At night, you review what happened. You notice what worked. You record what interrupted you. You prepare one adjustment for tomorrow, because honest reflection turns a difficult day into useful information. This sequence matters. Action creates evidence. Evidence strengthens belief. Stronger belief makes the next action easier. Over time, the cycle that once worked against you begins to work in your favor. The first major benefit is clarity. You stop carrying every goal at once. You know what deserves attention now, and that reduces the mental noise that often leads to avoidance. The second benefit is consistency. You rely less on excitement and more on a repeatable process. Even when energy changes, the structure remains available and shows you how to continue. The third benefit is visible progress. Small wins are easy to dismiss when nothing records them. A clear tracking process helps you see movement before the final result appears. The fourth benefit is faster recovery. You may miss a day, life may interrupt you. But instead of turning one difficult moment into complete abandonment, you return without creating another story of failure. The fifth benefit is self-trust. Every completed action becomes proof that you can depend on yourself. A real product must be judged by more than emotional language. Look at how it is made. Look at the instructions. Look at the time required. Look at the support, the policy, and the experience of consistent users. The strongest proof is specific. It describes the problem before use, the reason for choosing the product, the way it was used, and the change that followed. Honest evidence does not promise identical results for everyone. You should also understand the limits. This tool cannot force change without participation. It works best when you follow the process and allow repetition to do its work. Imagine using it for the next several weeks. Your mornings become more intentional. When doubt returns, you have a clear place to return. That is how transformation becomes practical. It is not one emotional moment. It is a sequence of ordinary actions that support a different identity. Now you must decide whether this process fits the life you are ready to build. You may still be thinking about time. Your days already feel full, but this process is not designed to take over your life. It is designed to help you use a small part of your day with greater intention. A few focused minutes can prevent hours of scattered effort. The goal is not to add another burden. It creates a simple point of return. You may also think, I have tried many things before. That is understandable. The difference must be specific. This system is valuable only if the steps are clear, repeatable, and useful in real situations. Another concern is consistency. You may fear that you will begin and stop again. The answer is not a promise that you will never struggle. The answer is a structure that helps you return quickly when struggle appears. Begin with the smallest version. Use one feature. Complete one step. Let the process become familiar before asking yourself to do more. Sustainable change often begins with less pressure, not more. Then there is the question of price. The right question is not only, how much does it cost? The deeper question is, what value does it create when it is actually used? Consider the time saved by clearer decisions. Consider the stress reduced by having a plan. Consider the confidence created when your actions begin matching your intentions. These benefits still require your participation. Review what is included. Look at the main product. Look at any additional resources. Look at the support, the guarantee, and the return policy. Make sure every promise is clear before you decide. Do not buy because you feel pressured. Buy only if the product matches your goal, your daily life, and your willingness to follow the process. A good decision feels grounded. If an offer is available, confirm that it is real. If a deadline exists, understand the exact terms. Trust should grow from transparency, not from fear. You have seen the signs, you have seen the pattern, you have seen the practical path. Now the decision is no longer hidden behind confusion. The next part returns to the moment you stopped scrolling. It reveals the ultimate message, and it asks you to choose what happens after these words end. You stopped because something in this message felt familiar. The old life has become heavy. Silence has exposed what you avoided. A true desire keeps returning, even after delay and disappointment. These were 3 signs. They were never meant to make you afraid. They were meant to show you that awareness has begun and that your next step requires action. The emergency update is clear. The season of waiting has completed its purpose. The door may already be opened through one decision, one habit, one opportunity, or one boundary that protects what matters. Chosen one, this is the part you were meant to hear. The emergency update is not that someone is coming to rescue you. The update is that the season of waiting for permission is over. The door has opened. But your next chapter becomes real only when an inner decision is followed by an outer action. Feeling this message is not enough. Agreeing with it is not enough. That is why this product is in front of you now. It is not a miracle. It is not an empty promise. It is a practical way to help you move with greater clarity, consistency, and intention. You can close this message and return to the pattern you already know. Or you can mark this moment by taking one concrete step. The decision is yours. Use the link below. Review the product details carefully. Choose the option that matches your needs. Read the instructions and terms before deciding. Do not choose from panic. Choose from clarity. Do not choose because you believe your future depends on one purchase. Choose because you are ready to support a decision with a practical system. Your first step can begin today. Follow the first instruction. Complete the smallest action. Let that action become proof that your next chapter has already started. The emergency update has been delivered. What changes next will not be determined by how strongly you felt this message. It will be determined by what you choose to do after it ends.